I'm Henry Little. I'm Chief Executive of Opera Rara. Thank you very much for being with us for tonight's launch of Opera Rara Classics and Donizetti in the 1830s. So once again, very warm welcome. Thank you very much to the various journalists who are with us this evening, as well as to our representatives around the globe from Warner Classics, who are our worldwide distributor. You're very welcome. But a very special thank you has to go to our current sponsors and donors, without whose generosity projects like these simply would not come to fruition. On to the launch of Opera Classics, and basically the question arises, why Opera Rara Classics? Well, the answer to that is in really our catalogue going back to 1970 of over 100 recordings now of lost operatic masterpieces. And with such an extensive catalogue, it's always inevitable that some titles are going to become unavailable in physical CD format. And very often in the 6 years that I've been with Opera Rara, we've had requests, more or less very constant, very regular, to say, why is X or Y or Z recording no longer available on CD? And that's very much the case with the 3 operas that we are featuring in this set. They've individually been great successes, but when they were released, but they've been unavailable in CD format for many years. And as I say, with many inquiries about when we're going to release them again. So that prompted us to think about a new strand to our recording releases, and it led to the creation of Opera Rara Classics, which is a new strand, quite simply to bring our catalogue, which has been previously unavailable in CD format, back for new audiences to enjoy. It makes sense to begin with Donizetti. Donizetti was, for the best part of the last 50 years, very much, if you like, the house composer of Opera Rara. We've recorded 26 of his operas since we were founded in 1970. And so the particular focus of this collection on Donizetti in the 1830s seems particularly apt to launch the new Opera Rara Classics. Each of the 3 operas that feature on the set have been digitally remastered to bring new life to these iconic recordings, and they are available, or they will be available from Friday, in one single box set of 7 CDs. And to show you a little bit more about what's included, we'll now start with a short video. Thank you. Wonderful. Slight apologies for the slight interruption in video there. Don't know what happened, but hopefully the remaining 2 pieces we have to show you will work seamlessly. I now want to introduce you to 2 very special guests. the acclaimed Welsh mezzo-soprano Della Jones, who not only sings Luigi in Ugo Conte de Parigi, she also sings Eustachio in L'Assedio di Calais. And with her, we also have Italian bass Mirko Palazzi, who sings the role of Noe in Il Diluvio Universale. And together, those three operas, Ugo Conte de Parigi, L'Assedio di Calais, and Il Diluvio Universale, make up this set of Donizetti in the 1830s. And to talk about them in more detail, I'll hand over to my colleague, Roger Parker, who is our artistic dramaturg. Roger, thank you.
Hi, welcome to this. Yeah, it's a fascinating box actually, and when one thinks about the arc of Donizetti's life, you know, he began writing operas in 1816, when that was just the beginning of Rossini, really, the advent of Rossini. Comic opera was the dominant form. Serious subjects were mostly neoclassical. There was a steady stream of new works. It was very much it had a link to the 18th century. By the mid-1840s, when Donizetti finished writing, Verdi had written his first three works. There was an Italian repertory was forming. Bellini had come and gone in that period. So there's an arc of about 25 years, a little more, when Donizetti was writing, and the 1830s, where these three operas come from, is right in the middle of that time. It's his sort of moment of classic Italian production, if you want. And it's kind of interesting. I mean, if you think of the very well-known works of the 1830s of Donizetti, you could see some works looking backwards, some works absolutely characteristic of the decade, and some works looking forward. And classic way of thinking about that would be that Anna Bolena, which was written in 1830, has got a lot of Rossinian traits. It's looking backwards to Rossini in all sorts of ways. Then you think of works like Lucrezia Borgia or Lucia di Lammermoor, authentically of the 1830s. Romanticism is very important, pouring forth a kind of lyric Italian tradition. And then later on in the decade, a work like Poliuto, which was actually his last work written in Italy when he was resident in Italy, is already looking towards Paris. It's looking towards modernity. There's much more interesting writing for the chorus and so on and so forth. So you could see that among these very well-known works looking backwards in the 1830s, works authentically of that decade, and then works looking forward. And in a sense, these three operas that we've got here, that we've collected in this box, are typically for Opera Rara a kind of alternative story of that. The first of them, Il Diluvio Universale, about Noah and his ark, is in all sorts of ways looking backwards to the 1820s. It's called an azione tragico sacra. It's a kind of hybrid work, tells a biblical story of Noah and his ark, and it's very experimental in all sorts of ways. Very unusual cast of characters, very unusual kind of way in which the drama is articulated, with lots of, it's more like an oratorio than an opera. And this fits in with his kind of experimental 1820s works. Some of you will know this from works that we've recorded recently, like Il Paria. Experiment was something that he was very keen on in the 1820s. So that work, in some ways, looking backward. The second one, Ugo Conte di Parigi, is much more in the vein of Lucrezia Borgia and Lucia di Lammermoor. It's authentically in the romantic Italian tradition. It's got steamy passion wherever you want to look. It's about individual confrontations. In fact, one of the real exciting things about Ugo Conte di Parigi is the duets. There's an incredible number of confrontational duets where he's kind of working out, Donizetti's working out how to put two characters on stage together and make them musically interesting. So that's Ugo Conte di Parigi, 1832, it was first performed. And then the third opera, L'Assedio di Calais, The Siege of Calais, written for Naples in 1836, but consciously, it's one of the very first operas actually, where Donizetti is thinking about moving to France. It's the French Donizetti, which is coming to the fore at that point. So there's a very innovative use of the chorus. And in all sorts of ways, he said that it was an opera written deliberately in the French taste. So he's looking towards that move to Paris and a move to a different kind of modernity, you could say. So there's all sorts of ways in which, the history of Donizetti in the 1830s is told by these three operas, which otherwise are quite unknown. So let's, we're going to introduce a video, first of all, of our first guest, Mirko Palazzi, who's singing an aria from Il Diluvio Universale. And this is an opera, this is an aria called Quell'arca nell'ira dei venti. It's amid the anger of the winds, the foaming of the sea, my ark will save a just man's life. It's an Act 1 aria. Sung by Mirko. So let's just hear that, and then we can talk to Mirko a bit. Okay, Mirko, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. Do you have any particular memories of that recording? I don't know how you look a little younger, but you look pretty young now. So do you have any memories of that?
Yes, I have very clear memories of it, because it was I was 26 at the time. It was I was very excited to start that recording. And the year before, I did another one with Rara, and Patrick Schmidt told me that he would like to do this recording with me. And all the time that between when he told me and then I recorded, I was excited to do it. I was just married 1 month before, so I have those clear memories of this honeymoon, but with this recording as well. I remember clearly many parts of the opera still now, also because I've sung this opera again after on the stage also. Of course, I record this part and the great aria of the flute in the second act, the long scene. I was a little afraid to go through this recording because it was a very big piece for me, and so I tried to do my best, and listening now after a while, I can say I'm happy to have done it.
Yeah, and did the fact of doing this recording have an effect on your career? Did it lead it in different directions?
Yes, of course. Recordings are always a target for a singer, because you means that you maybe hopefully you deserve it, and they stay you in the time. No, they steal you. They fix you, your voice, and it make me. This is a first role, and this was important for me to be known as a bel canto singer bass. So it helped me a lot also to be known across the.
Yeah, it's a complicated role in some ways, because that aria that we just played is very Rossinian in all sorts.
Yeah,
it sounds like Rossini, but then later on, as you said, you have much more complicated kind of music to sing. So for a 26-year-old, that was a challenge.
Yeah, it was a challenge. I had to say, I always had that kind. Also now, I'm not so different as I was. I was lucky to have a very formed. I can say formed voice. Still, I was young. Maybe now the voice is a little deeper. Maybe I can say it. Of course, I would not sing this exactly same way now, but that time I was quite precise and come si dice, fedele, faithful to the score.
Yeah.
Okay,
right. Thanks very much for that. I think we better move on to the next video example, and that's going to be Della Jones. Thank you, Mirko. The next video is going to be Della Jones singing from Ugo Conte di Parigi, and this is she's playing Luigi V of France, no less, and she's talking about discovering the treachery which deprived her of her father. So let's listen to that video. Well, do you have any particular memories of that recording? It sounded like you were enjoying yourself there, certainly, in that one.
Hugely. I probably have told you, nice to see you again, Roger.
Yes,
I'm sure I've said this story, but to everyone again, I'm so happy to relate it. It was the first big recording I had done. I had made others, smaller ones before, but having met Patrick, it was a change in my career. And it was joyous. I think I was pretty fearless. That doesn't mean to say I didn't have nerves, because one does as an artist, always. But I was, I embraced it. It was exciting. And of course, there was that extraordinary moment at Henry Wood Hall, when about maybe 8-10 minutes before the final recording session, when Patrick, I won't imitate his wonderful voice, but he did say, darling, on the phone from the box, darling, we can't afford overtime. You've got to do this in one take. And my God, we did. Thank you, God. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you, orchestra. Thank you, everybody. We did. And I quite liked that. It was exciting because you thought, oh my God, I can't let anybody down yet. Let's go for it. And luckily, I think it turned out all right.
Yeah, it's tremendous. I mean,
Well, yeah, it's all right.
no, when those things work, that's obviously the best thing to do, isn't
Oh
it?
yes,
Yeah.
and the orchestra, you know, everybody was fantastic, and it just blinking well worked. But it was very important to me, and it led to many other recordings, and of course this wonderful relationship with Patrick.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing that, you know, we've been delving back into the history of Opera Rara quite a lot in the last couple of years. And Patrick, he wasn't a tall man, but he grows in stature, you know, as just more and more people come on and just say how inspirational he was in all sorts of ways. You know?
He was and is an icon.
Yeah.
For the number of people he's encouraged, has given work to, but inspired. Yeah. Actually inspired and brought to us this wonderful wealth of music. Yeah. You know, he'd ring you up and say, hey, darling, we've got this recording. Can you learn this duet? I'll send it to you today. Can you do this duet in 2 days' time, please? We have a recording session. And you did it. I mean, there was this wealth of knowledge, of love and music, and the whole team too.
Yeah, I think, I mean, one of the extraordinary things about Patrick was he had this incredible sort of musical instinct, but he was also a scholar, you know, he scores and he knew them back to front, you know. It's a very rare combination to have.
Absolutely. And the fun we had of doing cadenzas together was, I will never, ever forget. Yeah. He wrote me the longest cadenza ever for Alfredo in Grande. It was 56 notes. 56 notes. Yeah. I still use it when I don't perform now, but I did use it.
Well, this was 5 years ago we're talking about, obviously, but he is. Did you, when you were doing those cadenzas, then did you just sing what he wrote, or did you you went into it a bit? Yeah.
It was an amalgamation of musical friendship. He would write one, and I would write one, and he would give me one. I said, "Don't like that." Yeah. Or I would say, "Can we do this one?" He said, "Hey, darling, that's good. Let's keep that." Yeah, we worked musically together. We were great friends.
Yeah, no, it was. I mean, the number of people who said this. So this was an important moment in your career, then, doing this recording. Yeah,
hugely. Yeah. Very, very important. Yes, it was the first big recording I done, and you know, I'm still proud, although I don't perform anymore and don't record anymore, but I am still so proud to, I think, still be part, well, I think I am still part of Opera Rara, and encourage everybody to actually be part of it, because it's given and is giving so many artists wonderful recordings, wonderful platforms, and friendship and music making, which must continue.
And it'll be interesting for I'm sure for all of us to hear these remastered recordings. I mean, because you know you will hear different things in them from the original. So it really is.
You mean you've made up new cadenzas?
Oh no, nothing like that. Don't worry. Yeah. Yeah, no, but the sound is brushed up a bit, you know. So it'll be.
You mean I sound better?
Oh, of course. How could that's impossible? Yeah. It was great talking to you again.
Lovely to talk to you and to see you again.
Yes, thank you.
So now I will end now, and I'll hand over to our chairman, Charles Alexander, who will bring tonight's launch to a close. Charles, thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. Lovely to see so many of you back here with us at Opera Rara. It's really great to be talking about music again and about doing stuff. And I'm just going to close the meeting by saying a little bit more about that. During the pandemic, a lot of arts organizations went into a form of hibernation, really, enforced hibernation. We didn't. We unfortunately had to postpone one of our concert performances, but the team, challenged by the board, has been excavating, archaeologists as they are, busily and planning for the resumption. Some of you will know that we have rediscovered, and Roger and the team have been working on a brand new opera by Mercadante. The launch of the opera classics is a tribute to the team, and goodness me, having seen the first page of that Donizetti manuscript score, goodness knows how Roger and his team can possibly make any sense of it whatsoever. But our core business of restoring the scores and picking the right pieces, including the ones that we've done already, as well as brand new work which has never been seen, has been hard at work during the whole of the pandemic. And that's the message, that we have been working, we're moving forward, we're back, and we are producing new stuff for your enjoyment. And never before, thanks to streaming, which can hit us financially, but we actually have started to reach hundreds of thousands, literally, of new participants in this music that we could never have done simply by selling CDs. So it's not simply the fact that we are producing new box sets. We will be revealing this music to a much far wider audience through the marvels of streaming than we have up until now, helped by our friends at Warner's. And last but not least, we're back on the stage, back performing in front of the public. As you know, we've been talking about Donizetti this evening, but we have a strong repertoire in the Verismo field, and we are bringing Leoncavallo's Zingari to the stage at the Cadogan Hall at 7:30 on the 3rd of December, with an extremely nice party thereafter. So I'm hoping that our patrons, who are all invited to that, and there's many of you who can come, will be able to see. We've got a fabulous cast. I mean, Henry, you could tell us, I think we've got Carlos Alba, we've got all kinds of people we have on the call today, Della, Mirko. We have fantastic singers in Opera Rara, and this has continued and will continue. So thank you again very much for coming on the call today. We'll see you all in the Cadogan Hall. Enjoy the box set that we've launched this evening, and see you all again soon.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Charles. Thank you for being with us. Yes, just to say, the Zingari is a fabulous cast. Carlos Alvarez, Krasimira Stoyanova, Arsen Sokomonyan, and a young Polish baritone called Łukasz Galiński. It's going to be very exciting. But as I say, for now, thank you very much for being with us. A big thank you especially to Della Jones, Mirko Palazzi, and Roger Parker. It's wonderful to see you, and thank you for being with us. And hope to see you on the 3rd of December. Thanks again.